In the realm of the ordinary, where life's mundane rhythms mask the true depth of existence, there lies hidden a world unseen, untouched by those who walk the paths of the conventional. It is here, in this veiled existence, where the tale of the Chosen One begins. A story not of grandeur at the outset, but of solitude and an inexplicable sense of displacement. The Chosen One, known to the world as Alex, lived in a small, unremarkable town that could have been anywhere. To the casual observer, Alex seemed ordinary, almost painfully so. With unkempt hair that never seemed to sit right, and clothes that spoke of practicality rather than fashion, Alex moved through life like a shadow. There, but barely noticed. From a young age, Alex felt the stirrings of being different. It wasn't in the way of skills or talents, for in those Alex was decidedly average. No, it was something deeper, a feeling of not fitting in, not just with the people around, but with the world itself. It was as if Alex was a piece from a different puzzle, trying in vain to fit into a picture that was never meant to include something so distinctly out of place. School was a trial, a daily test of endurance. Alex's peers, wrapped up in their own lives, seldom ventured beyond the superficial. Conversations revolved around the mundane, the latest gossip, the trivialities of teenage life, leaving Alex feeling even more isolated. In those moments of forced interaction, Alex would often retreat inward, to a place where the feeling of being different was not a burden, but a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Even within the supposed sanctuary of home, Alex felt adrift. Alex's parents, loving but perpetually preoccupied, failed to notice the subtle signs of their child's inner turmoil. They mistook Alex's quietness for shyness, the introspection for mere daydreaming. In their eyes, Alex was going through a phase, one that would pass with time. But deep down, Alex knew it was more than a phase. It was an integral part of who Alex was, a truth that lay at the very core of Alex's being. The truth, as elusive as it was, began to manifest in odd ways. Objects would move without explanation, lights would flicker at the edge of vision, and dreams, vivid, almost real, would leave Alex waking with a start, heart pounding. These occurrences, infrequent at first, grew in both frequency and intensity, hinting at a reality far beyond the ordinary. It was on a night like any other, under the blanket of darkness, that the turning point came. As Alex lay awake, pondering the unfathomable feeling of disconnection, a voice, clear and resonant, broke the silence. It was neither male nor female, but it spoke with an authority that commanded attention. "Alex, you are not of this world," it said, echoing around the room as though it came from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "You are the Chosen One, selected by forces beyond the comprehension of the mundane world. Your feeling of not belonging is not without reason. You were born with a purpose, one that transcends the ordinary life you've known." The words, cryptic as they were, struck a chord within Alex. The feeling of not fitting in, the strange occurrences, it all began to make sense, yet raised questions far greater than any answers provided. The voice, having delivered its message, faded into the night, leaving Alex alone with a newfound sense of destiny. As dawn broke, casting light on the uncertainties of the night, Alex knew that life could never go back to the way it was. The journey to uncover the truth of the Chosen One had begun, a journey that would lead Alex into realms unknown, facing challenges unimaginable. But for the first time, the feeling of not fitting in felt like a gift rather than a curse. Alex was different for a reason, and that reason was about to unfold in ways that would change everything. As the sun rose, casting its golden hues over the town, Alex felt a sense of urgency, a call to action that was impossible to ignore. The previous night's encounter had left a mark, an indelible imprint on Alex's consciousness. The words of the mysterious voice lingered, a constant reminder of the newfound purpose that lay ahead. It was with a mix of apprehension and exhilaration that Alex stepped out of the house, the familiar streets now holding a different meaning. The journey to understand the true nature of being the Chosen One had begun, and with it, the path to discovery was laid bare. Alex's first destination was the town's library, a quaint, almost forgotten building that had seen better days. It was here, among the dusty shelves and the scent of old books, that Alex hoped to find some clue, some piece of knowledge that would shed light on the cryptic message. The library, with its maze of sections, offered a sanctuary of silence, a place where Alex could search without the prying eyes of the townsfolk. Hours turned into days as Alex pored over ancient texts, mythologies from around the world, and obscure references to chosen ones. Yet, for all the lore and legends, the answers remained just out of reach. It was in the oldest section of the library, in a corner that seemed untouched by time, that Alex stumbled upon a tome so ancient, its cover was nearly crumbling to the touch. The book, titled The Shadow Realms, A Guide to the Unseen, seemed to call out, its presence a beacon amidst the sea of forgotten knowledge. With trembling hands, Alex opened the book. The pages, though aged, were immaculately preserved, the ink as vibrant as if it had been penned yesterday. The book spoke of worlds parallel to our own, realms that existed in the shadows, unseen by the uninitiated. It told of the chosen ones, individuals born with the innate ability to bridge the worlds, to see beyond the veil that separated the ordinary from the extraordinary. As Alex delved deeper into the book, a realization dawned. The strange occurrences, the sense of not belonging. It was all a precursor, a sign of the latent abilities that lay dormant. The chosen ones were not just intermediaries. They were protectors, guardians against the forces that sought to disrupt the balance between the worlds. But with knowledge came responsibility, and with responsibility, danger. The book warned of the shadows, entities that resided in the parallel realms, entities that were drawn to the power of the chosen ones. It was these shadows that the chosen ones must guard against, for in their hands lay the fate of both worlds. As the light of day began to wane, Alex closed the book, its contents now seared into memory. The path ahead was clearer, but no less daunting. To be the chosen one was to walk a lonely road, to face challenges not just from the unseen worlds, but from those who would seek to use the power for their own ends. Determined, Alex left the library, the weight of destiny heavy on young shoulders. The town, with its unsuspecting inhabitants, continued on, unaware of the unseen battle that was about to unfold. Alex knew that the first step was to master the abilities, to learn to control the power that lay within. Only then could the shadows be held at bay. Only then could the balance be maintained. As night fell, casting its blanket of stars across the sky, Alex looked up, the celestial bodies a reminder of the vastness of the universe, of the countless mysteries that lay waiting to be discovered. The journey of the chosen one was just beginning, and with it, the fight against the whispering shadows that threatened to engulf the world in darkness. The next morning greeted Alex with an air of palpable change, a shift in the world's fabric that only those attuned could feel. The sun's rays seemed to pierce deeper, the shadows cast by the light held a different texture, and the breeze carried whispers only Alex could hear. It was as if the very essence of existence had altered, aligning with the path that lay ahead for the chosen one. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from the ancient tome, Alex understood that the first step in mastering the latent abilities was to seek a mentor, someone who had walked the path before, someone who could guide Alex through the awakening. Such individuals, the book had hinted, were rare, often hidden, their presence cloaked by the same shadows they sought to combat. The search for a mentor led Alex to the outskirts of the town, to the edge of the dense forest that bordered the known with the unknown. Legends spoke of an old hermit, a figure shrouded in mystery, who dwelled within the heart of the woods. It was said that this hermit had once been a guardian of the realms, a protector who had retreated from the world to escape the relentless pursuit of the shadows. With a mixture of trepidation and resolve, Alex ventured into the forest. The trees, ancient and towering, seemed to watch over the journey, their branches swaying in silent encouragement. The deeper Alex went, the more the forest seemed to come alive, the sounds of nature merging with the whispers of the unseen. After what felt like hours, Alex came upon a clearing, at the center of which stood a small, decrepit cabin. Smoke curled from the chimney, a sign of life amidst the solitude. Approaching the door, Alex hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down. This was the point of no return, the step that would bridge the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary. With a deep breath, Alex knocked. The door creaked open, revealing a figure that seemed as old as the forest itself. The hermit, with eyes that held the depth of the universe, peered at Alex, a knowing smile creeping across weathered features. "So the Chosen One finally seeks the awakening," the hermit spoke, the voice like the rustle of leaves. "Come in, for we have much to discuss." The interior of the cabin was a contrast to its outward appearance. Shelves lined with books, artifacts of unknown origins, and symbols that pulsed with power filled the space. The hermit, moving with an agility that belied age, gestured for Alex to sit. "The path you've chosen is fraught with danger," the hermit began, "for the shadows you seek to combat are ever vigilant, ever hungry for the power you possess. But fear not, for it is your destiny to stand against them, to protect the balance between the worlds." The days that followed were a blur of training and enlightenment. The hermit, whom Alex came to know as Elias, was a stern but fair teacher. Under Elias's guidance, Alex learned to harness the latent abilities, to see beyond the veil that separated the worlds, and to tap into the energy that flowed through all things. The awakening was a gradual process, each day peeling back the layers of Alex's potential. The abilities, once erratic and uncontrollable, began to take shape, guided by Alex's will. Telekinesis, the ability to move objects with the mind, was the first to manifest, followed by clairvoyance, the sight beyond sight. As Alex grew in power, so too did the connection to the unseen realms strengthen. Visions of the shadow realms, of the entities that resided within, became more frequent, more vivid. Alex could see the shadows, sense their movements, and more importantly, understand their weaknesses. The training culminated in a ceremony of sorts, a ritual that would fully awaken Alex's powers and solidify the role as the Chosen One. Under the light of the full moon, amidst ancient runes and symbols of power, Elias performed the rite, chanting in a language that resonated with the very fabric of existence. As the ritual reached its climax, a surge of energy coursed through Alex, a torrent of power that threatened to overwhelm. But within the chaos, within the storm of awakening, there was clarity, a sense of purpose that burned bright. When the dawn broke, marking the end of the ceremony, Alex stood transformed. The abilities, once dormant, now flowed freely, a testament to the journey undertaken. The path ahead was clear, and with Elias by the side, the fight against the shadows would begin in earnest. But as Alex would soon learn, the shadows were not the only threat. Forces, both within and without, sought to control the power of the Chosen One, and the battle for the realms was just beginning. In the newfound clarity of the awakening, Alex's perception of the world underwent a radical transformation. The once invisible threads that connected all living things now shimmered with vibrant energy, visible to the Chosen One's attuned senses. With Elias as a guide, Alex began to navigate the complex web of power that underpinned reality, learning not just to perceive, but to influence the delicate balance of forces at play. However, with great power came not only great responsibility, but also great danger. The shadows, drawn to Alex's burgeoning strength like moths to a flame, intensified their efforts. Attacks became more frequent, the entities emboldened by some unseen force that sought to challenge the Chosen One's authority. It was during one such confrontation, in the depths of the Shadow Realm, that Alex first encountered the Shadowbinders, beings who had pledged themselves to the shadows, seeking to harness their power for their own nefarious ends. The Shadowbinders, cloaked in darkness, their eyes glinting with malevolence, proved to be formidable adversaries. Their mastery over the Shadow Realm's energies allowed them to craft illusions, manipulate fears, and even control the lesser shadow entities. The battle was fierce, a test of Alex's resolve and newly acquired abilities. It was a stark reminder that the path of the Chosen One was fraught with challenges that would push Alex to the limit. In the aftermath of the battle, amidst the lingering echoes of shadow magic, a realization dawned on Alex and Elias. To stand against the growing threat of the Shadowbinders and their shadowy patrons, they would need allies, forces of light and balance capable of countering the dark energies at play. The search for these allies led Alex and Elias beyond the confines of the forest, into the broader world where factions of light worked in secrecy to maintain the equilibrium between realms. Their journey took them to the ancient city of Luminara, a place where the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds was thin. Luminara was a beacon of light, its inhabitants descendants of a long line of guardians who had once stood side by side with the chosen ones of old. Here, amidst towering spires and luminescent streets, Alex felt a sense of belonging, a connection to the guardians of the past whose legacy now rested on the chosen one's shoulders. The leaders of Luminara, wise and ancient beings who had watched over the balance of power for centuries, welcomed Alex and Elias with a mixture of curiosity and hope. In the great hall of the city, under the gaze of statues that commemorated the guardians of old, Alex spoke of the rising threat of the Shadowbinders and the need for unity in the face of darkness. The deliberations were long, the council wary of the dangers that an open alliance might bring. Yet in the end, the urgency of the threat and the conviction in Alex's words swayed them. Luminara pledged its support to the Chosen One, offering not just its knowledge and resources, but its warriors, adept in the arts of light magic and combat. With Luminara's backing, a plan began to take shape. Alex, Elias, and their newfound allies would launch a campaign against the Shadowbinders, seeking to dismantle their power base and cut off their connection to the Shadow Realm. It was a daunting task, one that would require every ounce of strength and cunning they possessed. Yet, there was hope, a light that shone all the brighter for the darkness that sought to engulf it. As preparations for the campaign got underway, Alex trained with the warriors of Luminara, honing combat skills and learning to weave light magic with the innate abilities of the Chosen One. Each day brought new challenges, but also new strengths, as Alex grew into the role that fate had decreed. Meanwhile, the Shadowbinders, aware of the alliance forming against them, redoubled their efforts, casting a pall of darkness over the lands that bordered Luminara. The battle lines were drawn, the forces of light and shadow poised for a conflict that would determine the fate of the realms. Amidst the turmoil, Alex found solace in the unity of purpose that bound the allies together. The journey from solitude to leadership had been swift, but Alex stood ready, the Chosen One's resolve unshaken. The battle for balance was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in the saga of the realms, a tale of shadows and alliances that would echo through the ages. The dawn of the campaign against the Shadowbinders brought with it a palpable tension that hung over Luminara like a shroud. The city, a bastion of light amidst the encroaching darkness, became a hive of activity. Warriors honed their skills in the courtyards, mages pored over ancient texts for spells that could turn the tide, and scouts reported movements in the Shadow Realm that hinted at the enemy's growing unease. Alex, at the center of this whirlwind, felt the weight of leadership keenly, aware that the lives of many now depended on the decisions made in the coming days. The strategy was bold, yet fraught with peril. A direct assault on the Shadowbinders' stronghold was deemed too risky, given the enemy's mastery over the Shadow Realm and their ability to manipulate the very fabric of darkness. Instead, Alex and the allies devised a plan to sever the Shadowbinders' connection to their source of power, a dark nexus hidden within the Shadow Realm, from which they drew their strength. The first step was to create a breach in the veil that separated the physical world from the Shadow Realm, a task that fell to the mages of Luminara. Under the cover of night, in a clearing marked by runes of power, the mages chanted incantations that were old when the world was young. The air shimmered, reality bent, and a portal to the Shadow Realm tore open, a gateway through which Alex and a select group of warriors and mages would venture. The journey through the portal was disorienting, a sensation of being unmade and remade in an instant. On the other side, the Shadow Realm awaited, a world of twisted landscapes and shifting horizons where light seemed to die in the air. Guided by Elias's wisdom and the mage's knowledge, the group navigated the treacherous terrain, avoiding patrols of shadow entities and traps laid by the Shadowbinders. As they journeyed deeper into the realm, the signs of the Shadowbinders' corruption were everywhere. The very essence of the place was tainted, a reflection of the dark ambitions that sought to unbalance the worlds. Yet amidst the darkness, there were pockets of resistance, whispers of entities that yearned for freedom from the Shadowbinders' tyranny. Alex, sensing an opportunity, reached out to these beings, offering a chance for rebellion and liberation. In doing so, the Chosen One sowed the seeds of dissent within the enemy's ranks, an unexpected ally in the battle to come. The Nexus, when they finally reached it, was a monolith of swirling darkness, a pillar that seemed to draw in all light, all hope. The Shadowbinders, aware of the intrusion, launched their assault, a maelstrom of shadow magic and dark creatures that sought to overwhelm Alex and the allies. The battle was fierce, the air crackling with the clash of light and dark, of hope against despair. Alex, at the heart of the conflict, tapped into the full breadth of the Chosen One's powers, weaving spells of light and energy that pushed back against the tide of darkness. Around the Chosen One, the warriors of Luminara fought with a valor that inspired legends, their blades cutting through shadow entities as the mages countered the Shadowbinders' magic with spells of protection and purification. In the midst of the chaos, Alex made a desperate push toward the Nexus, understanding that the key to victory lay in breaking the connection between the Shadowbinders and their source of power. With Elias and a handful of mages providing cover, Alex reached the monolith, placing hands upon its surface and channeling every ounce of energy into a spell that would sever the Nexus from the Shadow Realm. The backlash was immediate, a surge of dark energy that threatened to consume Alex, to obliterate the very essence of the Chosen One. But in that moment of utmost peril, the allies' combined strength, the light of Luminara, and the will of the entities yearning for freedom converged upon Alex, bolstering the Chosen One's power. With a final monumental effort, Alex unleashed the spell, a torrent of light that pierced the Nexus, shattering the connection in a blinding explosion that swept across the Shadow Realm. The monolith crumbled, the dark energy dissipating as the balance began to restore itself. The victory was palpable, the Shadow Realm's oppressive aura lifting as the Shadowbinders' control waned. Yet even as Alex and the allies made their retreat through the closing portal, it was clear that the battle was but a chapter in an ongoing war. The Siege of Shadows had been lifted, but the Shadowbinders, though weakened, remained a threat. Back in Luminara, the return of the heroes was met with jubilation. The city, its people and the allies had weathered the storm, but the victory was tinged with the knowledge that the aftermath of the victory against the Shadowbinders brought a fleeting sense of relief to Luminara. The city basked in the glow of triumph, its streets alive with celebration and gratitude. Yet beneath the surface, a shadow of unease lingered, a foreboding sense that the conflict was far from over. In the days that followed, Alex and the allies remained vigilant, wary of any signs of retaliation from the defeated Shadowbinders. The city's defenses were bolstered, and patrols were increased along the borders of the Shadow Realm. But despite their efforts, a sense of apprehension hung heavy in the air. It was during a routine scouting mission that the first signs of trouble emerged. Reports came in of strange occurrences along the outskirts of Luminara, crops withering, animals behaving erratically, and whispers of shadowy figures moving under the cover of night. At first dismissed as mere superstition, the signs soon grew too numerous to ignore, and it became apparent that the Shadowbinders were regrouping, gathering their strength for a counterattack. Alex, sensing the impending danger, convened a council of war with the leaders of Luminara and the allies. Plans were drawn up to fortify the city's defenses and to launch preemptive strikes against the Shadowbinders' strongholds before they could mount a full-scale assault. Yet even as preparations were made, doubts gnawed at the edges of resolve. The Shadowbinders, it seemed, were not content to fade into obscurity. They hungered for revenge, and they would stop at nothing to reclaim their lost power. The first wave of the Shadowbinders' retaliation came swiftly and without warning. Under the cover of a moonless night, dark clouds gathered over Luminara, blotting out the stars and casting the city into darkness. Then, Like a tempest unleashed, shadow entities poured forth from the Shadow Realm, their numbers overwhelming the city's defenses. The battle that ensued was unlike anything Luminara had ever faced. Streets once filled with laughter and song now echoed with the clash of steel and the cries of the wounded. Alex, at the forefront of the defense, fought with a fury born of desperation, wielding light magic with precision and power. Yet, for every shadow creature felled, two more seemed to take its place, their dark energies sapping the strength of even the most seasoned warriors. As the night wore on and the battle raged unabated, it became clear that Luminara was on the brink of defeat. The city's defenders, outnumbered and outmatched, fought with a grim determination, but it was evident that they could not hold out much longer against the relentless onslaught of the Shadowbinders' forces. In the darkest hour, when hope seemed all but lost, a beacon of light pierced the gloom. From the heart of Luminara, a surge of energy erupted, bathing the city in a brilliant glow that pushed back the encroaching darkness. It was a power unlike anything the Allies had ever witnessed, a testament to the strength of unity and the resilience of the human spirit. At the center of the radiant aura stood Alex, the Chosen One, channeling the combined energies of Luminara and its allies into a spell of unprecedented magnitude. With a voice that resonated with power, Alex called upon the forces of light to banish the shadows, to drive back the darkness and restore balance to the realms. The effect was immediate and profound. The shadow creatures, weakened by the onslaught of light, began to falter and retreat, their forms dissolving into the night like mist before the sun. The darkness that had shrouded Luminara lifted, revealing a city battered but unbowed, its people united in their defiance against the forces of darkness. As dawn broke over the horizon, illuminating the scars of battle that marred the city's streets, a sense of quiet resolve settled over Luminara. The victory, hard-won though it was, served as a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope could prevail. The Shadowbinders may have struck a blow, but they had underestimated the strength of Luminara and its allies, and they would soon learn that the light would always triumph over the shadows. With the immediate threat quelled, Alex and the leaders of Luminara turned their attention to the task of rebuilding and fortifying the city's defenses. The battle against the Shadowbinders was far from over, but with courage, determination, and the power of unity, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they stood together against the darkness. In the wake of the Shadowbinders' failed assault on Luminara, a fragile peace settled over the city, a respite from the relentless conflict that had consumed it. Yet beneath the veneer of calm, tensions simmered, a testament to the ever-present threat of the shadows that lurked on the fringes of reality. Alex, the Chosen One, knew that the lull in hostilities was but a temporary reprieve. The Shadowbinders, though weakened, remained a potent force, their thirst for vengeance matched only by their ambition to reclaim their lost power. With each passing day, the specter of another assault loomed larger, casting a shadow over the city's newfound sense of security. Determined to prevent further bloodshed, Alex sought counsel from the leaders of Luminara and its allies. Together, they deliberated on a course of action that would not only defend against the Shadowbinders' inevitable reprisal, but also address the root cause of the conflict, the imbalance between light and darkness that threatened to tear the realms asunder. It was during these discussions that an unexpected proposal emerged, a pact of shadows and light, a truce that would seek to reconcile the opposing forces and restore harmony to the realms. The idea, though met with skepticism by some, resonated with Alex's vision of a future where beings of all origins could coexist in peace. With the leaders of Luminara's blessing, Alex embarked on a diplomatic mission to seek out representatives of the Shadow Realm. Accompanied by a delegation of trusted allies, including Elias and skilled negotiators from Luminara, Alex ventured into the heart of darkness, where the Shadowbinders held sway. The journey was fraught with peril as they navigated treacherous landscapes and encountered shadow creatures that tested their resolve at every turn. Yet, guided by a shared commitment to peace, they pressed on, driven by the belief that dialogue, not conflict, held the key to lasting harmony. After weeks of travel, they arrived at the Shadowbinders' stronghold, a fortress shrouded in darkness, its spires reaching skyward like claws grasping for the stars. Despite the foreboding atmosphere, Alex and the delegation approached with open minds and hearts, ready to engage in the delicate dance of diplomacy. The negotiations were tense, marked by mistrust and centuries-old grievances. The Shadowbinders, embittered by their defeat and wary of the intentions of the light-wielding intruders, were reluctant to entertain the notion of peace. Yet, as the discussions progressed, cracks began to appear in the facade of hostility, revealing a glimmer of common ground upon which to build a foundation of understanding. Through tireless diplomacy and skillful negotiation, Alex and the delegation managed to broker a tentative agreement, a ceasefire that would hold as long as both sides adhered to its terms. Under the terms of the pact, Luminara and its allies would cease hostilities against the Shadowbinders, while the Shadowbinders would refrain from further attacks on Luminara and its allies. Though far from perfect, the pact represented a significant step toward reconciliation, a testament to the power of dialogue and cooperation in the face of adversity. With the agreement in place, Alex and the delegation returned to Luminara, hopeful that the fragile peace they had forged would endure and pave the way for a brighter future for all who inhabited the realms. As word of the pact spread throughout Luminara and beyond, there were those who greeted it with skepticism, wary of the Shadowbinders' intentions and fearful of the consequences should the truce falter. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there was also hope. A belief that perhaps against all odds, shadows and light could coexist in harmony, and that the realms could one day be united in peace. For Alex, the journey toward reconciliation was far from over, but with the pact as a foundation, the Chosen One remained steadfast in the conviction that the power of unity could overcome even the deepest divides. With courage, compassion, and a commitment to the greater good, Alex would continue to strive for a future where shadows and light walked hand in hand, bound by a shared destiny of peace and prosperity. In the wake of the peace pact between Luminara and the Shadowbinders, a tentative calm settled over the realms. The agreement, though fragile, offered a glimmer of hope for a future free from the specter of war. Yet beneath the surface of the newfound tranquility, shadows of doubt lingered, casting a pall over the fragile peace. Alex, the Chosen One, keenly felt the weight of responsibility that came with navigating the delicate balance between light and darkness. While the pact represented a significant step toward reconciliation, the scars of centuries-old conflict ran deep, and mistrust simmered just beneath the surface. As the days turned into weeks, reports began to filter in from the borders of Luminara, whispers of shadowy figures lurking in the forests, mysterious disappearances in the dead of night, and strange occurrences that defied explanation. Though initially dismissed as isolated incidents, the signs soon pointed to a disturbing truth. The peace was under threat, and the Shadowbinders, it seemed, were not content to honor their end of the agreement. Determined to uncover the truth, Alex embarked on a series of clandestine investigations, venturing into the shadowy fringes of Luminara to confront the source of the disturbances. With each passing day, the evidence mounted, painting a grim picture of sabotage and subterfuge perpetrated by shadowy agents intent on undermining the fragile peace. It soon became apparent that the Shadowbinders, resentful of their defeat and emboldened by the truce, had initiated a campaign of covert aggression, seeking to destabilize Luminara from within and sow seeds of discord among its inhabitants. Their motives remained unclear, but their actions spoke volumes. War was on the horizon, and the realms stood on the brink of a new conflict. Armed with this knowledge, Alex convened an emergency council of war with the leaders of Luminara and its allies. Together, they devised a strategy to counter the Shadowbinders' machinations and preserve the peace that had been so hard won. Diplomacy, they agreed, would only take them so far. Force would be necessary to root out the shadowy agents and neutralize the threat they posed to the realms. Under the cover of darkness, Alex and a select group of allies embarked on a series of daring missions, infiltrating the Shadowbinders' strongholds and gathering intelligence on their plans. The stakes were high, the risks even higher. But failure was not an option. The fate of the realms hung in the balance, and the Chosen One would do whatever it took to protect them. As the conflict escalated and tensions reached a fever pitch, Alex found solace in the unwavering support of Elias and the allies who stood by the Chosen One's side. Together, they faced insurmountable odds with courage and determination, their bond growing stronger with each trial they endured. Yet even as they waged their covert war against the Shadowbinders, a nagging sense of doubt gnawed at the edges of Alex's resolve. What if the Peace Pact was nothing more than a ruse, a ploy to lull Luminara into a false sense of security while the Shadowbinders plotted their revenge? What if the Shadows were not the only threat they faced, and darker forces lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike? As the conflict reached its climax, and the fate of the realms hung in the balance, Alex knew that the answers to these questions would determine the outcome of the struggle. With courage and conviction, the Chosen One vowed to confront the shadows of doubt head-on, for the path to peace was paved with uncertainty, but the light of hope shone brightest in the darkest of times. As tensions between Luminara and the Shadowbinders escalated, Alex found themselves caught in a web of deception and intrigue that threatened to unravel the fragile peace between the realms. The covert war waged against the shadowy agents had yielded little in the way of definitive answers, and the truth remained elusive, obscured by layers of deception and half-truths. Determined to pierce the veil of deception and uncover the true intentions of their adversaries, Alex embarked on a perilous journey into the heart of darkness. With Elias and a select few trusted allies by their side, they delved deep into the Shadow Realm, where the tendrils of darkness intertwined with the fabric of reality. The journey was fraught with danger, as they navigated treacherous landscapes and faced the wrath of shadow creatures determined to thwart their progress. Yet, guided by a steadfast resolve and an unwavering belief in the power of truth, they pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows. Their quest led them to the Shadowbinders' stronghold, a fortress shrouded in darkness and guarded by powerful wards designed to repel intruders. Undeterred by the formidable defenses, Alex and their companions infiltrated the fortress, relying on stealth and cunning to evade detection. As they moved deeper into the heart of the stronghold, they encountered shadowy figures cloaked in darkness, their features obscured by the shifting shadows. These beings, emissaries of the Shadowbinders, sought to thwart their progress at every turn, employing dark magic and cunning traps to impede their advance. Despite the obstacles they faced, Alex and their allies pressed on, driven by a singular determination to uncover the truth. Their journey took them to the inner sanctum of the fortress, where they confronted the leader of the Shadowbinders, a formidable figure shrouded in darkness, their true intentions veiled in mystery. In a tense standoff, Alex demanded answers, challenging the Shadowbinder leader to reveal the true purpose behind their actions. Yet, the leader remained enigmatic, their words cloaked in ambiguity and half-truths. It became clear that the Shadowbinders' motives were far more complex than they had initially seemed, and that the conflict between light and darkness ran deeper than either side had realized. Frustrated by the lack of clarity, Alex and their companions prepared to depart the fortress, their mission incomplete, yet their resolve undiminished. As they made their way back to the realm of light, they vowed to continue their quest for truth, knowing that the fate of the realms depended on their ability to uncover the secrets hidden in the shadows. Back in Luminara, Alex shared their findings with the leaders of the city and its allies, urging caution and vigilance in the face of the Shadowbinders' enigmatic agenda. Though the true nature of the shadowy threat remained elusive, one thing was clear: the peace between light and darkness was tenuous at best, and the realms stood on the brink of a conflict that threatened to engulf them all. As the shadows deepened and uncertainty loomed on the horizon, Alex knew that the journey was far from over. The quest for truth would continue, driven by an unwavering commitment to uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the darkness, and to forge a path toward a future where light and shadow could coexist in harmony. In the aftermath of their perilous journey into the heart of darkness, Alex and their companions found themselves faced with a daunting realization. The true nature of the shadowy threat that loomed over the realms remained shrouded in mystery. Despite their efforts to uncover the secrets hidden in the shadows, the enigmatic agenda of the Shadowbinders continued to elude them, casting a pall of uncertainty over the fragile peace between light and darkness. Determined to unravel the truth and confront the looming threat head-on, Alex convened a council of war with the leaders of Luminara and its allies. Together, they devised a daring plan to confront the Shadowbinders on their own terms and bring an end to the shadowy machinations that threatened to tear the realms apart. The plan, though fraught with peril, offered the best chance of success in the face of mounting uncertainty. With the support of their allies and the strength of their convictions, Alex and their companions prepared to embark on a final, decisive confrontation with the forces of darkness. As the appointed hour drew near, tensions reached a fever pitch, and the realms braced themselves for the reckoning that lay ahead. In Luminara, the city's defenses were bolstered, and its warriors stood ready to defend their home against the encroaching darkness. Across the realms, allies rallied to the cause, their resolve unshaken by the looming threat that hung over them all. At the forefront of the conflict stood Alex, the Chosen One, their determination unwavering in the face of overwhelming odds. With Elias and their trusted companions by their side, they led the charge against the Shadowbinders, their path illuminated by the light of hope and the promise of a brighter future. The battle that ensued was unlike any that had come before, a clash of light and darkness that shook the very foundations of the realms. Shadowy tendrils lashed out against walls of light, while warriors from both sides clashed in a frenzied melee that raged across the landscape. In the midst of the chaos, Alex confronted the leader of the Shadowbinders, their true intentions laid bare for all to see. It became clear that the Shadowbinders sought not just to wage war against the forces of light, but to unmake the very fabric of reality itself, to plunge the realms into eternal darkness and chaos. With the fate of the realms hanging in the balance, Alex unleashed the full extent of their power, channeling the energies of light and darkness into a single, devastating blow. The clash that followed was cataclysmic, a maelstrom of raw energy that threatened to consume everything in its path. Yet in the end, it was the power of unity that prevailed. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into silence, it became clear that the forces of light had emerged victorious, their resolve unbroken by the trials they had faced. With the shadowy threat vanquished and the realms once more at peace, Alex and their companions returned to Luminara, hailed as heroes by the grateful inhabitants of the city. Though scars remained from the conflict that had shaken the realms to their core, there was a sense of hope in the air, a belief that, together, light and shadow could forge a future of peace and prosperity for all who inhabited the realms. As Alex looked out over the city, their hearts swelled with pride at all they had accomplished. The journey had been long and arduous, marked by trials and tribulations that had tested their courage and resolve at every turn. Yet in the end it was the power of unity, the strength of their convictions, and the light of hope that had carried them through. And so, as the sun set on another day in the realms, Alex vowed to continue their quest for peace, knowing that the journey was far from over. For as long as light and shadow existed, there would always be challenges to overcome and battles to be fought. But with courage, determination, and the unwavering belief in the power of unity, the Chosen One knew that anything was possible, and that together they could shape the destiny of the realms for generations to come.